Hey, good morning YouTube. Today we're going up under this 2005 Chevy Express 3500. The sway bar bushings on the front end are going bad, so I bought this part number from the GMC dealer. These things are really easy to put on. They have a little split and you just slip them on over the sway bar, put the retainer back on, and you're done. GMC and Chevy make it so easy to change these sway bars. We're going to go take a look underneath. The sway bar for the GMC, as you can see right underneath, right in the front, it's beautiful. It's right here. And you see my sway bar bushing on this side is cracked and coming out, so that needs to be replaced. I'm going to replace the other one while we're at it, just because we're underneath. I'm going to show you a couple tips and tricks along the way to make this job go easier for you. Okay, let's talk parts and tools. This is the old part, the bushing that I took off from the other side of the vehicle. As you can see, it's completely thrashed. I bought this new bushing from the GMC dealer. You'll notice it's got a little slit in the top to allow us to slip this over the sway bar. When you install this, you want to make sure that this is to the sky, because most of the wear and tear happens on the bottom of the bushing. Here's the GMC AC Delco part number. All that information should you need it. Now, as far as tools go, we're just going to use a simple ratchet. I happen to have a swivel head, but a standard one will do. A 15mm socket, and it's a deep socket. If you don't have a 15mm deep, you can use a closed-in or open-in wrench. It'll work, but it'll slow your job down. You also need a 10mm shallow socket. Deep socket will work as well. And finally, a 7mm socket. Now, most importantly, and this is what makes the job go so easy, you really do need a floor jack. This one's a 3-ton because I'm working on a large vehicle, but any general floor jack will work for this process. And if you've ever done this job without a floor jack, you're going to cry when you see how easy it is to put these bushings back on using the method I'm going to show you. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is break loose this nut that is on the upper bolt, and this nut is actually on a bolt. It's a post, and this post can be removed, and we are going to remove it, so it is removable, replaceable, but what we're going to do is just back it off a little bit, and it'll make our job go that much easier. So now that it's backed off, we're going to leave it where it's at, get our 10mm. We're going to take the bottom bolt off. And now we're going to alternate, because this bushing is straddling that bar. So as you loosen one side, it's actually tightening the other side. So now I'm going to get my 7mm and I'm going to take this post out. You can hear it kind of pop and loosen as we remove this side, and again I'm just going to keep alternating until we've released all the tension and we've got both bolts out. Alright, that one's loose. Alright, so we got, as you can see, that's a post bolt. So that one's removed. And let me get the other one out. I may have been a little premature and didn't entirely loosen it, but we're just going to wiggle this around. Excuse me there. We're just going to wiggle this around until that bolt comes out of the hole. There we go. As you can see, short bolt. And real simple, our bushing is being straddled by this retainer. And so I'm going to try to get the retainer off, which is no easy task. There we go. So now all we have left over is our sway bar bushing, which we're going to replace here in a moment. So again, reminder, slit goes to the sky. We're going to slide that back on there, and sometimes you have to pull the sway bar out to get it around behind. And you want to try to line it up as well as you can with the old marks. And you're going to take your retainer again, put it on over the top and slide it down. And we are set. Now you're going to notice something. And this is where, if you don't have a floor jack, it gets really tricky. You're going to notice that these holes are no longer aligned. And if I try to put my bolts back in there, obviously that's not going to happen. So what I'm going to show you is a trick to get those lined back up using our floor jack. Okay, so now depending on the ground your vehicle is sitting on, my driveway happens to be a little uneven with tilt going in one specific direction. These bolt holes are going to line up in different ways. On the other side of the vehicle, this sway bar is actually up here and the bolt holes are on top. So I'm going to show you both methods of getting these bolt holes easily to line up. On this side, it's really simple. What we're going to do is we're going to put our floor jack right here, jack it up, and that's going to move the sway bar up over these holes. On the other side, you're going to notice is that our holes are way out of alignment. So it's really important to get the lateral holes lined up. But then what we're going to do, we're going to do a little trick here. You know, you could get all your buddies and you can pull down on it and put a lot of weight on the top of the sway bar, and that'll eventually get it down. But I'm going to show you a neat little trick, save you a lot of time and effort, and that's by using the floor jack. We're going to jack up the opposite control arm. We're going to jack onto the lower control arm, and by pushing that side of the vehicle up, it's going to push this bushing and its retainer down and line up the holes. All right, here we go. Once the holes are aligned, you replace the bolts and tighten them up and you're all done. Now we're going to show you the other side. Alright, so let's see how this works in action. We're going to jack this up. As you can see, that's going to align our holes nicely. And then once we have it lined up well, we might have to move it laterally along the sway bar to make everything line up perfectly. But that is the easy way to get your bolt holes in line. This will save you a ton of frustration and a ton of work. Okay, so now that we have our bolt holes aligned, we're going to put our bolts back in, and just as we did when we took them out, we're going to alternate tightening these. That will allow it to snug down on both sides evenly. We're going to speed up the next part of this video because it's just the reinstall of the bolts. And that's it. We are all finished. Both sway bar bushings changed. If I wasn't doing the video, it would have probably taken me about 10 to 15 minutes per side. Really simple thing to do. Save you some money and get your vehicle back on the road.